this is the Get Started with Walkup Experience live on ServiceNow session. Before we get started, just want to note that this session is being recorded. We do post these for others that were not able to join live to listen in on Walkup Experience. So with that, we'll get started. Next slide, please. Great. So this is our safe harbor notice. I'm sure you've all seen this before, but this presentation may contain some forward-looking statements that are based on our beliefs and our assumptions, as well as some content that will be shared that is already delivered, already available for you. So we just want to make sure we put that in there in the beginning so that you are aware. A couple housekeeping onto the next slide, couple housekeeping. This is a virtual roundtable. We would like to have a great conversation with you today. So please stay on mute to avoid any noises. However, if you do have something to say, question, comment, whatever it is at any time, please do come off mute. Go ahead and introduce yourself when you are asking a question so we would all be able to know you better. We would all get to know you better. And then lastly, this session actually is being recorded, and we are going to be posting this at a later time. And then lastly, just before we get started, next slide, we are going to be having more webinars and meetups for IT service management. So keep an eye on that. We will drop the link for that in the chat as well. Okay, so then really quickly, we're just going to introduce ourselves. I'll go first since I'm already talking. My name's Isabella. I'm a senior product manager for IT service management. I'm on the outbound side of product management, and I cover a lot of products, one of them being Walkup Experience. So that's what brings me here today, and I'm very excited to chat with you all. I will hand it over to Harsh to introduce himself.
Thanks, Isabella. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good evening. Great to meet all of you. My name is Harsh Maliwal. I'm the inbound product manager for Walkup Experience within ServiceNow. And I'm going to be assisting Isabella today to show you some of the exciting stuff that we have going on with Walkup. I'd like to hand it over to my teammate, Salman.
Hello all, I'm Salman Raju Sappa. I'm a software quality engineer. I will be taking care of all the quality of Walkup Experience. Today I'll be assisting Harsh Maliwal on the demoing the cool new features on the Walkup Experience.
And Bala, did you want to introduce yourself really quickly?
Yeah. Hi everyone. This is Bala. Good afternoon, good evening, where you're from. I'm a principal outbound product manager, primarily working with the ITSM products. And good to talk to you. Harsh, you can take over.
Awesome. Back to you, Isabella.
Thank you all for introducing yourself. You might see Natalie on that screen. She will be on later sessions. So we're going to get started first with a poll. So if we can bring that poll up, we want to know which of the below options best describes your role at your organization. Just want to get a feel for who's joining us today. So we have ServiceNow developer, help desk agent, help desk manager, service or process owner, product owner. So we'll keep that up for a minute or so, just to give us a good idea of who we're talking to today. So far, it seems like most of us are ServiceNow developers. A few of us are help desk managers and some product owners. Oh, we do have a service process owner. Just 20 more seconds for those of you that are able to complete this poll. That'd be great. Awesome. Okay, we'll get started. So just to share the results, most of the individuals joining our session today are ServiceNow developers, followed by help desk managers or product owners, and then we do have a service process owner. So that is great for us to know. So we're going to talk about what Walkup Experience is, and we're going to talk about it from two different perspectives. We have the end user perspective and then the admin perspective. So first off, the end user perspective. So we kind of separated into these three ideal scenarios. So fast in-person guidance from the end user experience. They can expect fast in-person guidance via the conventional Walkup Experience And now we have released virtual collaboration via the remote walk-up experience. We can support requesters who are working remotely to book appointments through the new remote booking type. Requesters get served virtually by the agents through Microsoft Teams interactions. Secondly, flexible scheduling. Appointments can be booked via the service portal and now mobile app. Users can now take control of their schedule and make sure they are getting service at a time that's most convenient for them. This is the modern experience our end users are accustomed to experiencing. And then simple check-in from anywhere. Simple and easy check-in from anywhere. Users can use the ESC portal, ServiceNow portal, Service portal, now mobile app, and end users can check into their appointments to do that in those portals, or they can drop in to the walk-up experience. Those that are dropping in will easily be able to see their wait times and the position they are in queue, providing really clear transparency via the walk-up experience. So then next, we have the admin experience. So we have provided a guided setup experience for walk-up admins so that they can easily and simply, quickly set up and get running with our product. Optimize the efficiency for a walk-up location by introducing variable time slots. So this is that flexible scheduling, variable time slots for appointment booking. These variable time slots for appointment bookings can be configured based on the location and based on the reason for an appointment, like if it's an issue or a request. This feature helps to provide information to the customers about the availability of the agents and also help better manage the walk-up locations for more effectively and efficiently for agents. For example, a laptop drop-off might be 15 minutes, whereas a laptop refresh could take anywhere up to an hour. So those appointments are going to look very different. Agent availability is going to look very different. And it also gives insight for the end users to know what their options are. And then admins have a clear and transparent view into key insights about their walk-up performance and satisfaction. So this is that transparent insight. Admins will have an out-of-the-box dashboard that details total completed walk-ups in a given time period, exit CSAT score or survey for the entire year, CSAT score, walk-ups by location for those that are having multiple walk-up experiences, number of incidents and requests, and so much more. We will see this on the demo that Harsh is going to go through. He'll quickly show us what that dashboard looks like. And then before I go on, I just want to pause here to see if anyone has any questions in the chat about end user experience or admin experience. I know I briefly touched on it. I do want to give plenty of time for the demo so you can really see it hands-on. So just going to pause here to see if there's any questions. You can either drop it in the chat or use the Q&A function. We are monitoring both. I'll just pause for a moment. I do have another question for everyone, so maybe this will help prompt. If you can drop in the chat if you're using our walk-up experience, if you're currently evaluating it, or if this is the first time you're hearing about it. You could drop it in the chat. We'd love to know more. Albert says his first time. That's great. Is there anything else that you're curious to know at this point before we go into the demo about walk-up experience or how it could provide some relief for your agents? Amanda is starting to use it. That's great. Not using it on roadmap. That's awesome. Hopefully we can give you some more insight to help plan for that roadmap for when that time comes. Gonna wait a little bit longer. First time. This is awesome, on our roadmap as well. So majority of our attendees are planning to implement walk-up experience or are the first time hearing about it. So this is great for us. Glad we're doing this for everyone. Awesome. So I'll keep moving on. You can feel free to drop more questions or comments in the chat, but we'll keep going. So for those of you that are new to walk-up experience or are evaluating it for your roadmap, this will be really great. So we're going to go over some best practices and tips. Harsh, if you can move forward. Great, thank you. Oh, my question and answer popped up again. Okay, so really important to meet users where they are. You can meet users where they are by surfacing capabilities to them via the ServiceNow portal and the Now mobile app. These are really great places to leverage the walk-up experience throughout the areas or the platforms in which the users are at and where they're going to most. So creating seamless integrations. We encourage you to better manage your walk-up queues, stockrooms, and appointments through the service operations workspace. As a walk-up agent, you can use the service operations workspace to manage your assigned walk-up interactions. You can open incidents when an issue is not resolved at the walk-up location. You can also directly create requests for hardware, software through the service catalog when an asset is not available at the walk-up location or stockroom itself. And you can directly initiate a Teams conversation from within the service operations workspace experience. So creating this seamless integration is really going to help better manage your walk-up experience from the jump. So since most people here are just evaluating it or planning to put it on a roadmap, starting with this will just be a great foundation for you moving forward. And then really prioritizing supporting your agents. So increasing service efficiency at a location by setting up multiple kiosks for types of issues to serve several requesters simultaneously. So this will provide proficient agents the time to work on a specific, with their specific skills that they might have. So you can assign skills to agents, then enable the automated skill-based routing. You can enhance check-in experience of requesters at a location with improved badge reader integration, which will not only ease, the agents having to check people in, but also the end users being able to have that like seamless experience. And yeah, so that's kind of the basics of like some of our best practices to get started with. We'll talk a lot more as we go through the demo, but I just wanted to touch on those before. So again, going to pause here to see if there's any questions or if there's anything specifically you're looking to see out of our demo before Harsh jumps into it. Awesome. All right, so Harsh, I'm going to hand it over to you for our demo.
Awesome. Thanks, Isabella. Let me just go ahead and flip to my browser. So before we get started with the demo, because we seem to have a lot of people on the call who are sort of interacting with walk-up for the first time or have it on their roadmap, I want to break this up into a couple of different parts. So walk-up primarily affects two different kinds of stakeholders. You have your end users, who are the people who are actually trying to leverage walk-up to get help. And then you have your agent persona, who's actually going to be working on the appointments or the tickets that get created in the back end. You also have the sort of walk-up manager persona, who would be, let's say, a team lead or a help desk lead who would be managing the agents. And that persona is the one who's going to try to look at walk-up from a bird's eye picture, to see overall what the status is and how service is going. So the first part of this demo is going to be looking at the end user perspective, which is sort of the meat of who we're trying to help. Now, even when we talk about the end user perspective for walk-up, there are two different ways to try and leverage this capability. You can leverage walk-up via what we call the on-site portal, which is you actually come in physically to a kiosk or a help desk, and you try and log in there and say, hey, I need help. So that's the first kind of use case. The second kind of use case is you either use a Now mobile app or you use a service portal to check in online or book an appointment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break this demo into two parts. I'm first just going to show you at a high level what the on-site experience would look like. Then after that, I'm going to jump into the service portal demo so you can see what the online experience could look like. Once we get that slightly clarified, then we can get into more of our nuanced features. So with that, I'm going to really quickly start the on-site experience. So I have a user over here who's called the walk-up user. Now, the way we envision the on-site experience working is we usually have an iPad or some sort of mobile device kept at this on-site location where we expect our users to just come in and quickly sign up into the tech lounge. And I'm going to show you what that experience looks like. Now, I'm demoing this out of my laptop, so the experience may look a little bit different physically, but the way it would work is you would typically do this configuration on the iPad. Now, there are a couple of different steps here. So I'm going to tell you what are the configurations you would do. And then at the starting point of the user journey, I'm going to call that out. So let's say you're opening up your walk-up location right now. It's morning, and you want to start offering service to your end users. What you would do as the tech lounge manager or as the lead for that walk-up location is you would select that location. And I'm just going to go ahead and select the San Diego Tech Lounge. And then what you would do on the iPad is you would click on the check-in screen. Excuse me. And this screen, this would be the starting point of your walk-up experience for your end users. So the moment you've arrived at this screen, your walk-up location is ready for the end users to avail. Now, let's imagine I'm an employee at an organization and I have decided that, I'm facing this issue that's absolutely critical to me. Maybe let's say my laptop has started overheating and it's absolutely slow and I'm unable to figure out, diagnose via other channels what the issue could be. And I absolutely need in-person help. What I would potentially do is I would go to the nearest tech lounge where walk-up is set up, and I would see this tablet expecting me to check in. So what I would do is I would just select my name from here. So I have a user with my own account created. So I'm just going to select my name. And then what I do is I select a reason. And because I've come for a laptop issue, I'm just going to select laptop refresh. And I'm going to go ahead and hit check in. Now, before I just check in, I also want to say that in case you're unable to find your username for some reason, or you want to leverage your walk-up product in such a way that people who don't have a ServiceNow login can still check in here, what you can actually do is you can click on this link over here, and it takes you to our sort of guest check-in experience, and it will check you in as a guest user. So you will still be able to get the service that you need, and the help will be provided, but the system will not, because you're not recognized in the system as a formal ServiceNow user, we don't want to throw you away and not give you the help that you need. So this capability also exists. Just want to put this out there. So now that I've actually populated my employee name and my reason, I'm going to go ahead and click check-in. And this gives me a really quick status indicator of where I am in the queue. Now, let me just go ahead and hit return to main screen. And if you see, the screen completely resets and takes you back to the check-in experience, which means that it's seamlessly available for the next person to come in and check in. Now, I just want to talk a little bit about what's happening in the back end here. So walk-up actually is powered on top of this ticket type called an interaction, which is a task-based extension in ServiceNow. And agents are expected to work on top of these interactions. So when you're checking into the queue, what's actually happening is that interaction is getting created. And we have some sophisticated mechanisms available in the backend that will actually control how these interactions are routed, who can work on these, who can't work on these. And when we talk about the agent side of the demo, we're going to be getting into that. Now, what I want to show you is one of the alternative screens that exist on this portal. This view that I've run you through right now is what appears on our iPad. But there's also a secondary view, which is super important from a usability perspective. So I'm just going to quickly go ahead and come back here. Now, let's say I select the San Diego Tech Lounge, because that's the tech lounge whose status I'm interested in knowing, and I click on queue. Now, this view that you see is typically expected to be beamed up on a large screen at a central location in your physical tech lounge or kiosk, whatever you wish to call it. So within ServiceNow, in fact, we do leverage walk-up for IT help. And the way our walk-up locations are typically set up is we have this check-in screen that you see here on the iPad. And we always have this screen visible on a physically large screen like a television, where it's prominently displayed so users can quickly assess what's the status. Now, this is super important because if you come into a tech lounge and you see that there are a bunch of people currently being served, excuse me, and also a bunch of people up next, you may decide to come back later. So it's important to be able to get that bird's eye view into how likely or unlikely it is for me to get quick help. And we believe that the screen allows you to do that. So I'm just going to pause here for 10 seconds to let that all sink in. Okay. Now, as I was saying, there's a possibility that this walk-up tech location is pretty heavily swamped when you decide to come in. And based on the way your organization is set up, you may not actually be able to just quickly get up and go to a tech lounge. It may not be that conveniently co-located to where you're sitting. So for example, like while I'm having this demo, the tech lounge is literally 10 feet away from me, but everyone doesn't enjoy that privilege. You may have to walk, across half a building, or you may have to climb a couple of floors, and that takes time. So it's very disappointing to take that kind of effort to go there and find out that, the location is completely swamped. So what we've actually done is we've done two things. First, we've created a capability known as appointment booking. And second, we've actually surfaced this tech lounge capability on your employee portal. So you can actually log into your portal or your ServiceNow mobile application and take a look at the status of the tech lounge and either check in or book an appointment. And now that's going to be the second part of the demo that we get into. So from here on out, just to reiterate, the persona that we're solving for is still the end user. But now we're trying to address that case where the end user doesn't actually want to come to the tech lounge and check in. They want to be able to initiate this process in a sort of more digital format, where they're in office perhaps, but not at the tech lounge. So that said, what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to quickly impersonate myself to show you that demo. Okay, so I'm really quickly going to go to what we call our employee portal to kickstart that demo. So this is what is called our employee center. And this is sort of the reimagined future of service portals for employee-focused use cases in ServiceNow. We came out with this portal in San Diego. So if you are in a pre-San Diego release, you might not be able to see this. But from San Diego onwards, this is going to be the out-of-box portal that you see. The design schema of this portal is slightly different from some of the other service portals you may have interacted with in ServiceNow. So the theming right off the bat is different, and it sort of uses this next-gen kind of look and feel that we're sort of pushing as our de facto standard for theming in ServiceNow. But more than the theming, the part that I really want to draw your attention to is My Active Items. Now, My Active Items is supposed to be this bird's eye view of all the things that could potentially require your attention. And also, it's supposed to allow you to get help in the easiest way possible. And I also want to draw your attention to the fact that you can open a chat window very quickly from the My Active Items section itself. Like they're very closely situated together just to make that getting help experience faster. Now, in this specific case, you've decided that you're facing some kind of laptop issue, or you're facing an issue of some sort that requires you to come into the tech lounge to get help. But you want to be able to assess what's the status of the tech lounge to make sure that you get your service in the optimal amount of time. So what happens is you click on walk-up visits. And for this user, there's already a walk-up visit. But what I'm going to do just to show you what the sort of landing screen looks like is I'm going to abandon this ticket. And this would be your sort of blank landing page experience. As you can see, you don't have any upcoming walk-up visits planned. So you just go ahead and click on plan your visit. Now, quick call out here, excuse me. So this location picker that you see actually factors in your geolocation. Now, from my browser, location services are blocked. So I manually need to select the location. But in case your location services are enabled, what this location picker will actually do is it will automatically select the tech lounge that is closest to you. You, of course, have the ability and the flexibility to change it, but we just believe that it's far more convenient to automatically select that for you. And we found that it's also especially useful in cases where end users don't necessarily know which is the tech lounge closest to them. So I'm just going to go ahead and click the San Diego Tech Lounge. And this takes me to sort of the landing experience of walk-up from our online portals. Now, there are a couple of different things that I want to draw to your attention here. So in this tech lounge, you have the ability to either join the queue or schedule an appointment. That is completely configurable. So based on the settings that you want to offer to your end users, you can power a walk-up location in such a way to only allow joining the queue. Or you can power your walk-up location in such a way as to only allow scheduling an appointment. In this case, as you can see, there's a hybrid of both. So that's exactly why you see both tabs. So if I, for example, click on schedule an appointment, the look and feel of the interface is completely different. So here I have the ability to actually select a reason, and then it'll give me an appointment picker. So what I want to do is I quickly just want to tell you what the join the queue experience looks like. So I'm going to select a reason, let's say laptop refresh, and I'm just going to go ahead and hit check-in. And again, it gives me this neat status of where I am in the queue. And one of the things to note is when I was actually selecting the reason, it gives me some of my related content. And this is super important because this actually can help you increase your deflection. Now, in our interactions with different customers, what we've noticed time and time again is it's a recurring problem that, agents are overswamped. No matter how well you try and plan for your walk-up experience or your IT help desk, you're always going to have these situations where you have a large number of users pooling in and having to wait because you don't have sufficient agent capacity. So you definitely want to try and increase your deflection as much as possible. So this related content that you see is our attempt at trying to increase the deflection. Some of the things that get surfaced here are catalog items, knowledge base articles. All of these stuff are related to what you see over here. And the idea is that the end user should be able to click on these and navigate away and potentially get help for the kind of issue they're facing. Just going to take 10 seconds to pause over here before I jump into the appointment booking flow. Okay, so now what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to talk about scheduling an appointment. All right, so let's say I already have an issue for the laptop refresh in the pool, but I simultaneously want to get some help from my mobile device that my company has provided for me. It's entirely possible that the mobile issue is not so pressing, and maybe I can wait for an hour or two to try and get that in-person help. In such a case, what I would actually do is I would go to schedule an appointment. And this screen is going to have a bunch of different capabilities that I'm going to show you now. The first thing that I want to really draw to your attention is the appointment type that you see over here. There are two different kinds of appointments that we surface to our end users. You can book what is called an in-person appointment, or you can book what is called a remote appointment. Remote appointments are a capability that we debuted in San Diego, and they are our interpretation of addressing this need that has arisen due to the pandemic. We all know that the pandemic has hit us really hard, and working models have completely changed between the years of 2020 to 2022. We're seeing a lot of organizations that are, at the very least, preferring flexible work models, and there are other organizations where remote first is the mandate for the workforce. In such cases, it becomes super important to be able to offer an in-person assistance, either via an appointment or via direct help. And that's what remote does for us. So when you book a remote appointment, it's an indication to the agent that this person needs assistance, but they are not going to physically appear at a tech lounge. And the reason this distinction is important is because a lot of customers don't have dedicated virtual bars. So they actually use that same agent capacity to staff both physical requests as well as remote requests. So having that remote appointment type allows you to make that distinction that, this is something that actually needs a virtual collaboration session. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to select a reason. Let's say I need something. And what you notice is this text box is configured because what my admin has actually done is they feel like I need something is too generic. So I need to fill out some more information so that the agent can actually get clarity on what I'm trying to do. So I'm going to say that I am having an issue using Okta. And now I can go ahead and select a time slot. Excuse me. And again, as you can see, the related content just tries and gives me some more information that could be helpful for me. So I'm going to select an appointment. And as you can see, I get a very quick and easy interface that shows me what are the available time slots. So today is Thursday, which is why I can see these slots available here. But I also have the ability to see what slots are available in the upcoming weeks, in upcoming days. And for this particular reason, 30 minutes have been allotted, which means that typically my admins are expecting that I need help kind of issues take 30 minutes on an average to resolve. The amount of time that's offered here is completely configurable. We have a product called appointment booking, which we hook into as the walk-up experience. And appointment booking configurations allow you to configure this capability as flexibly as you would like them. So for example, if instead of 30-minute time slots, you wish to offer 1-hour time slots, you can do that. If you wish to account for agent breaks, you can actually put in break times. So slots will be booked out and you won't be able to reserve any appointments in that time. If you want to allow multiple appointments inside a slot, that kind of capability also works. So it's a very configurable system. And in case you are evaluating walk-up, it's definitely one of those capabilities that we would suggest that you get hands-on with because the possibilities are very open here. I'm just going to pause quickly for 5 seconds before I actually show you one of the more subtle capabilities that we've offered here in our Tokyo release. Okay, so that said, what I'm just going to do is I'm going to clear this so that I can just have a fresh screen and show you this really interesting capability that we've come up with. Okay, now we've spoken about the overall picture of being able to check in via the employee portal, checking in via the on-site portal, or booking an appointment from your employee portal. All of these things are pretty powerful and they allow your end users to get help. But sometimes, as Isabella mentioned to you earlier, you need a more nuanced mechanism to be able to handle the kind of help that a user needs. And what I mean by that is not all kinds of help require the same amount of service time. So for example, you may have done the analysis on your side and found that typically speaking, let's say VPN issues or laptop software issues take a lesser amount of time, let's say 15 minutes. Whereas more complex issues like laptop heating or a display not working may take, let's say, an hour or an hour and a half. We have actually introduced a capability in Tokyo that allows you to distinguish and offer both different types of slots in terms of the days offered, as well as differently sized slots in terms of the duration of each appointment to your end users. And I'm just going to show that to you really quickly in a configuration that I've done here. So let me just go ahead and click on schedule an appointment. I'm going to say that I need a laptop refresh kind of help. And I'm just going to click on select an appointment. Excuse me. Now, as you can see, my admin has actually configured this walk-up location to work in such a way that I have 1.5 hour slots available for laptop refresh. And I'm just going to click on next so that you can see the configuration a little better. And what you can see is the help is actually available from Monday to Friday. I couldn't see Monday to Wednesday in this slot because they're in the past, today being Thursday. But when I come here and I show you, you can see that from Monday to Friday, between 9 o'clock to 4:30 are when the slots are available. And if you notice, you actually can't see a slot between 12 to 1:30. And the reason for that is because for this specific walk-up location, the admin has actually configured it to work with a break. And that means that the agents are not going to be available for service at that time. Now, I just want to let this sit with you for a second or two, before I actually show you a different interpretation of what the screen could look like. Okay, so just to recap, we were trying to look at a laptop refresh issue. We went to try and book an appointment, and what we saw is that the admin has configured it in such a way that we have 1.5 hour slots available to us, with the 12 to 1:30 p.m. slot being reserved for breaks. Now, let's say instead of laptop refresh, I needed help with my mobile device. So I go ahead and I select this reason. And the appointment picker refreshes. And if I go to select an appointment now, I'm going to see something totally different. What I can see here is that for mobile issues, the admin has configured this location in such a way that I only have slots available between Monday to Wednesday, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. with no breaks slotted in here. This is the crux of the capability that we're trying to offer. The reason that we want to offer this is because we believe that it's important for end users to have that visibility into the fact that different things could have different service times. And also, the agent availability is very well slotted in here. Just going to pause here because that's a lot to process. And I want to see if there are any thoughts or reactions to this.
Yeah, just to chime in here, for those of you that are new or evaluating this on your roadmap, maybe also seeing this for the first time, do you have any thoughts? Is this resonating with you? Is this what you expected? Is this a surprise? Do you see any challenges in your organization with what we've been showing? Just trying to get some pulse checks here. Would love to know if the demo is resonating with everyone, if this is what you were expecting, or if this was a surprise, anything. Looks good to me. As expected, okay. We're liking, looks good. Great job, Harsh.
Yeah. Awesome. So I just really want to quickly demo the admin experience just to give that perspective of what that looks like. So I'm going to really quickly impersonate one of our admins, and that's going to be Salman. And Salman is going to go ahead and open up what we call SOW. Now, I'm not going to get into a great deal of detail on what SOW is, but I would just say that SOW is sort of this reimagined workspace that the IT service management business unit is pushing for from the San Diego release onwards. And we believe that the agents on all IT related issues should come here as the landing point. So for an agent working on SOW, who's working on walk-up tickets, the first point that we expect them to do is come here, click on their inbox, and update their status. So let's say they make their status available. Something super cool just happened. A ticket automatically popped up here. Now, this leverages a capability that we call skill-based routing. What skill-based routing actually does is it allows you to tie skills to agents to determine which agents can work on which kind of tickets. So in this environment, what actually has happened is a laptop skill has been associated with this ticket. The walk-up system allows you to configure a skill to each reason. So the admin has actually said that for anyone who selects a laptop refresh kind of issue, in the backend, it is an expectation that the ticket created will require a laptop related skill. And because Salman as a user has that laptop related skill, the ticket automatically pops up here. This is a super cool capability that we've offered from San Diego onwards, and it hooks into another product of ours called Advanced Work Assignment. Advanced Work Assignment is an engine that ServiceNow has created that allows you to achieve these kind of skill-based routing effects. And again, it's super configurable. So You could do something like associate multiple skills with tickets. You could add auto routing capabilities. So for example, over here, Salman has a choice as to whether or not he wants to accept this ticket. But you may have a business process where you don't want to give your agents that flexibility. You see a huge volume of tickets coming in, so you want to directly assign tickets. That's configurable. You may have a process where you may want to offer entire groups of people's skills rather than just creating a per agent skill. All of that works inside the advanced work assignment engine. I really want to show you a high level look of what the rest of this could look like. So if you go to this list navigator, you can actually see walkup resides here as a first class citizen. So as an agent working at a walkup, you can take a very, very quick look into all of the things that affect your walkup location. So you can see stock rooms, you can see locations, you can see kiosks, which are subdivisions inside a walkup location. All of that is surfaced up here. The final part that I'm really quickly going to show you, which we referenced earlier, is our walkup dashboard. So if I just go ahead and come here, I'm going to go on dashboard. Just give it a minute to load. And here, as you can see, I have an end-to-end bird's eye perspective of everything that's happening related to my walkup. This is a dashboard we ship out of box. So if you've installed walkup, you will get this dashboard automatically. No configuration required. As you can see, we surface a ton of interesting metrics here. So we show you your completed walkups. We show you your CSAT, which is key in being able to determine your quality of service. And then we get more nuanced. So we talk about walkups by day of the week. We talk about walkups by hour. We slice it across different locations. We even tell you service time. So all of this gives you a very good picture of what your walkup looks like and allows you to better manage and better optimize the quality of your service. Now, because we spent a lot of time talking and demoing a bunch of stuff to you, I'm going to hand it over back to Isabella to bring us home as far as the session is concerned. And please feel free to continue sharing your thoughts, your questions and answers with us, because we do have 15 minutes left and we're supercharged to hear what you have to say about this demo. Back to you, Isabella.
Thanks, Harsh. Awesome demo. So we have another question for you all. These are the desired business outcomes that we are working towards with walkup experience. This is what we think about every time we are developing new features, functionalities, is increasing in-person help for issues, quicker turnaround time, and anticipating agent capacity and workload. So our question, if you can click next, to you all that we'd love to hear in the chat is, what business outcomes speak to you the most? And what would you like to learn more about getting started with walkup experience in helping you achieve your desired business outcomes? I'll just pause here. Feel free to jump off of mute. We also have one more question, sorry. What challenges in achieving your desired business outcomes with walkup experience can we help you with, or do you anticipate? Just pause here. Any comments? This is also a great time to ask questions too, but we'd love to know what your ideal situation is with walkup experience. Go ahead and come off mute if you're able to, or drop it in the chat. Stefan, Steve, Harvey, I know you guys were chatting a little bit earlier. If you want to mention anything, I invite you to go off mute or add it in the chat. Just wait for another minute or two.
Hello.
We do. Hi, yes.
Yeah. No, everything I saw, I pretty much liked. I didn't have any other questions about it. I know one of my other team members may be on this meeting as well, so we'll probably discuss it later.
Yeah.
As well.
Do you know what business outcomes are most important for you in your organization? If you had to maybe anticipate what it might be.
I guess just speed and access. I mean, I guess user experience. I would say that user experience, like, I guess we had customers using this, like the ease of access for them to, I just get to the portal, put what they need in, and I guess the other half will be on the service desk as far as getting to them. But as far as just something used to access our service desk, I mean, it looks great to me.
Awesome. Great. Well, yeah, if you have any more questions as you are evaluating, as you're talking to your teammate too, you're more than happy to work with you one-on-one if you need further assistance in evaluating the product. For those that are asking, Walkup is a part of our ITSM standard offering that will need to be activated. And we do have additional resources as well.
Definitely. Thank you.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for sharing. Anyone else? Awesome. All right. Well, thank you all. Let's go to the next slide. We do have these resources that we will be dropping in the chat as well for you to learn more about walk-up experience, advanced work assignment, service operations workspace, and virtual agent conversations, which are integrated with walk-up experience. So those are all in the chat now. And then lastly, we do have a final poll, I believe. We can launch that. Okay, I could be wrong. We might be sending that out after actually. So with that, we do have more live on ServiceNow sessions for future webinars and meetups on ITSM. There's a whole bunch of them, and we will have the survey at the end of the session. So yeah, if you have any other topics that you're interested in, please take a look and register for future events. With that, we'll stay on a little bit longer if anyone does want to chat, but otherwise, thank you all for joining our walk-up experience session.